Deep breaths, deep breaths, deep breaths, deep breaths. Hey everybody, the Super Vader 400 here, back for another review, and this time this is my 2016 movie reviews. I did a short version of this on my Doug 8798 channel. Here is the long version. Just like on my Doug 8798 channel, I'm gonna go from least greatest to greatest on film. And the very first film I want to start off with, of course, is Xmen Apocalypse. Now, after watching this film for the fifth time, like I said, I'm going to be the first one to tell you this was not a good movie. This was not a good movie, but it was entertaining. It was entertaining. This movie had a this movie had a poor script, a weak cast, and terrible pacing issues. But the story, characters, action, and visuals carried the film despite all those flaws I just mentioned. They also didn't do characters Jubilee, Cyclops, Apocalypse, and Angel justice. But this was a good reimagining of the X-Men franchise, and I always wanted them to make a film where Apocalypse was the main antagonist and the Brotherhood and X-Men team up to face him. We've seen that done several times in the comics and cartoons, but never in the live action film. I also like this film because it reminds me of the 1995 20th Century Fox film Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which of course was also produced by 20th Century Fox. Apocalypse has a character design similar to the main antagonist of that film, Ivan Ooze. So this film is like a darker, edgier version of that film. And like I said, the last 20 to 30 minutes of this film is worth sitting through the weak acting and the poor script. The last 20 to 30 minutes, the epic X-Men versus Apocalypse battle is totally worth the wait. But this film, that's why it's being reviewed first. This film, along with Deadpool, are probably two of the worst films of 2016, despite the fact that both of these films grossed a lot of money. Like I said, I also like this film because I like how this is the 2010s, but this film was able to get away with having a film set in a different time period. This film was set in the 80s, even though we're in the 2010s. I'm working on several scripts of my own that are set in various time periods. So I think it's really cool that you can still do that nowadays. So like I said, this was a good film. And like I said before, I continue. I keep saying this, and I'll say it again. I absolutely hate the X-Men movies. I thought the first three were good for their time and are still entertaining today. Wolverine Origins I enjoyed when it first came out. I don't like it as much now, but I still enjoy it. And First Class, Days of Future Past, and the Wolverine, I absolutely can't stand these films. Like I said, this was X Men. X Men. This was my review of X Men Apocalypse. The next film on the list is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Like I said, I've been looking forward to this film for since it was announced, and hell, even before that. And right when it came out, I decided not to watch it. I was looking forward to this film up until I read the negative reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and saw the various negative reviews on YouTube, and didn't like what I was hearing, and I didn't want to set myself up for disappointment, especially after watching Deadpool and Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Those were two films that I saw before Batman v Superman that I did not like. But this film right here totally exceeded my expectations for what I set for it. I came to watch this film so I could take my shot at it, so I could rant on it. I came out here loving this film from from the origin of from the opening, which was the origin of Batman and the dream of him in a post-apocalyptic world, witnessing the battle between Batman and Superman, all the way to the final fight between him and Superman, and the final fight between Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Doomsday. This film was awesome. This film has several problems in the script department, but the story, the cast, the characters, the action, and the visuals completely carry this film and hide all of the flaws of this movie. I have several flaws in this movie, such as pretty much Lex Luthor's plan, and several other inconsistencies. I can't remember right now because the film was so damn awesome. But like I said, I initially came to I watched this film. I found a low quality stream of this film on Put Blocker and watched this film so I could take my shot at it. Now, after seeing this film, not only have I forgiven Zack Snyder, and but I can't wait for the entire DC extended universe to follow up to this film, of course, which is Justice League. And I thought this film deserved more than it first off, I thought it deserved to make more money than it made at the box office with a budget of 200 something dollars. It only made 8 million. It only made about 8 million dollars at the box office, but I felt it should have made more money than that. And I also felt the film should have the critical reception should at least been a 40, 50, 60, or 70%. It got a 27%. It should at least been a 40, 50, 60, or 70%. It deserves some criticisms in some area, but this film was awesome and was everything I wanted in a Batman v film. Superman film. Now the next the next film, of course, is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. This film right here and the next one I'm going to get to, Captain America Civil War, in my opinion, are both of these films are the best films of 2016. TMNT Out of the Shadows, of course, I saw this film 2 weeks ago, June 11th, Saturday, June 11th, 5:30 p.m. at the Stonecrest Theater, and I enjoyed the hell out of this film. Words cannot describe how awesome this film was. This film was even better than I expected it to be. Expected it to be, and I like how this film was different from the other three superhero films. You had X-Men Apocalypse, which was an end of the world type science fiction, end of the world type disaster type film. Then you had um, then you had Batman v Superman and Captain America Civil War, which these films tackle realistic social issues, whereas TMNT was a fun, campy science fiction action comedy flick. I like how it was different from all the doom and gloom of the other three movies, and this film took everything that was bad about the first TMNT movie and improved it in this film, and everything that was good about the TMNT film they added here, and they added even more. Then they made this film even more for the fans of the series. They made it closer to the 80s cartoon and closer to the 2012 cartoons with a couple of elements from the 2003 cartoon. The ending credits theme even had a remix of the 1980s Turtle Power theme song, which I also thought was awesome. And the turtles were all heavily redesigned in this film. So were the foot in the first film. The foot were like GI Joe, Cobra Troopers. Here they are more they're more ninja like, so they can make characters like Casey much more much useful. And like I said, I love the inclusions of Casey, Bebop and Rocksteady, Baxter, Stockman, and Krang, and all of them were awesome. Let's start off with Casey Jones. Casey Jones. Stephen Amell was awesome as Casey Jones. I liked his character in the film, and I like how his character was different from his Oliver Queen Arrow character from the Arrow television show. The only thing I did not like about Stephen Amell's Casey Jones character is that he just looked generic. He was just a guy in normal street clothes with a hockey mask. He didn't bother to get any shoulder pads, any knee pads, or spandex or anything. He just put on a hoodie, put on a hoodie, a hockey mask, and got came up here with a hockey stick, and that was Casey Jones. That was Casey Jones, but Stephen Amell was awesome as Casey Jones. Next was Bebop and Rocksteady. Bebop and Rocksteady. I don't remember the actor who played Bebop, but he was awesome. And Sheamus. Sheamus was awesome as Rocksteady. I actually like Sheamus as an actor more than I do him as a wrestler, as a professional wrestler. He was awesome as Bebop and Rocksteady. Only disappointment I had with these two is that these two they didn't fight the turtles as much in the as much they didn't encounter or fight the turtles as much in this film as I thought they were gonna. I thought they were gonna be. The trailer made it look like we were gonna see this epic battle between the turtles and Bebop and Rocksteady, and they had a cool little fight scene, but it was quick over with quickly. Um, next, of course, is Tyler Perry, Baxter Stockman, who Tyler Perry, straight out of the 2003 television series with elements from the 80s cartoon and the 2012 cartoon because Tyler Perry said if this film ever does get a sequel, he will probably his character will mutate into the Fly. His character will mutate into the Fly. But Baxter Stockman, like I said, Tyler Perry was awesome in this film, just like Baxter Stockman, straight out of the cartoons, straight out of the cartoons, comics, straight out of the cartoons and comics. Tyler Perry played a good nerd in this film, and like I said, then next, of course, was Shredder, the new Shredder. I keep forgetting the actor's name who portrayed him in the first film. He was awesome. They didn't have to to replace him with this new Shredder, but this new guy was just as good, if not better, than the old guy. I also love the new costume Shredder had. It's something similar to his 2000 his the 2012 series and the original 80s cartoon versus the bulky 2003 robot like mechanized samurai armor he had in the last film. Last film. Then of course, finally, Krang. Krang, who was straight out of the 80s cartoon, and he in this film he was more intimidating than he was in the 80s cartoon. In the 80s cartoon, he had a giant wrestler like body. Here, his body reminded me of the Jack 3 model from Tekken 3. That's what his robot body reminded me of. He was awesome and loved his final fight with the turtles, and hope there's a sequel to see Krang, Bebop, and Rocksteady and Shred and all those characters back in the sequel again. So like I said, awesome film. Wasn't much action as they didn't have as much action as the first one had, but it was good. It was good. And this movie right here is probably the best, in my opinion, is the best Ninja Turtles movie of all the Ninja Turtles film. And last but not least, the one thing I like about this film was that they added more depth to the turtles, with the turtles wanting to get out and be seen, with the turtles wanting to get out and be seen, and the humans at first reacting with fear and hatred, but then coming to accept them as heroes of the city. And I like how they gave more screen time to the turtles. One thing I did not like about the 2014 film was the film focusing more on April O'Neil and Vernon and the various human stuff over the turtles, who were the stars of the film, and the turtles and foot stuff was the best parts of the films. Not that the human parts were bad, not that the human parts were bad, but the turtle stuff was the best. Then of course you had the that was one thing. I think the modern TMNT films, the 2007 CGI film, the 2014 film, and this one, the best one, the 2016 film, I think these are much better than the original three from the 90s. But one thing that I thought that was better about the original TMNT movies was they focused way more They focused way more on the turtles while still not taking much attention away from the various human characters. That's one thing the modern TMNT movies could take from the original Turtles movie. But in every other way they surpass the the original Ninja Turtles. And this film is sadly to say was a box office flop. It finally got over its budget. It took a while, but it finally got over its budget. It's made $143 with a budget of 130. Um, I hope they make a little bit more money so they can make that part three, because I really would love to see that Ninja Turtles three film, because this film was awesome. I want to see more of this stuff. Well, this was my review of the original. This was my review of TMNT. Now the last film on this list is Captain America: Civil War. Like I said, got to give the history of this film. Not only was this film awesome, this was a film I initially didn't want to see at first. When I a year ago, when I heard they were going to be making Captain America 3 Civil War, I was totally disappointed, because first off, I thought it was inconsistent with what happened at the end of The Winter Soldier, where Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow, when she was on trial, she said, yes, the world is a vulnerable place, but the Avengers are all you've got that stands between you and annihilation. So why is the government still trying to ban or stop or control superheroes? That was up until I saw Avengers Age of Ultron. Avengers Age of Ultron, which totally led up into Captain America, Captain America Civil War. Avengers Age of Ultron, which totally led up into Captain America Civil War. Then of course I started to become more positive. Then after I read the synopsises, not only read the synopsises, the premise of the film, but also saw the high caliber cast of characters that will be appearing in the film. I started to become excited, because it was like another Avengers sequel minus Thor and the Incredible Hulk and Loki. But then of course I saw the very first trailer, which was good. Then the trailers after that showing the Spider-Man who finally made his debut in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Then I saw the film, and one thing I like about this film is that this film proved the Marvel Cinematic Universe haters and pretty much the DC fanboys wrong. A lot of the DC fanboys criticize these movies, ridicule them as kiddie Power Ranger Disney type movies. This movie Civil War showed that, yeah, we're all that stuff, but we can be more. We can be dark and complex and tackle social issues just like Batman v Superman did. Like I said, one thing I like about this film with Batman and Superman is, like Double Toasted said, one thing I like is that this film right here showcases that just because we have superheroes now, the world is still not a better place, and it shows superheroes in an even more realistic a more realistic, like the plot of this film pretty much was the main plot of this film was pretty much after after Wanda accidentally teleports a guy in the air, levitates a guy in the air and knocks him into a building, which kills dozens of Wakanda workers. Theodius Ross, making his return to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, decides to pass a bill, which will, in called the Accords, trying to pass a law called the Accords, which will allow the government to control the actions of the Avengers. Steven Rogers leads a team opposing the acts, and Tony Stark leads a team supporting the act, and that's pretty much the entire film. There's also a subplot. With the bad guy Helmet Zemo um, framing Bucky the Winter Soldier by creating multiple Winter Soldiers and framing Bucky for crimes he did not commit, such as killing T'Challa's the Black Panthers, who's making his debut in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Dad, father, which this prompts T'Challa to become the Black Panther and avenge his his father. That's the subplot. That's the subplot of That's the subplot of this film. Not every character was good. The entire cast was outstanding. Every character had a purpose in this film. This film had lots and lots of good kick ass action and lots of comedy for such a dark film. It still doesn't lose its sense of humor. And this film, not only has it received positive reviews, but this film has already broken the 1 billion mark. Already made the 1 million mark at the box office, and is this film is the 12th highest grossing film ever. So it's in a list of highest grossing films ever. I didn't think a film could do that nowadays because people don't go to the movies much anymore. But like I said, this film showed it could be done. So like I said, such an awesome film. Like I said, I loved all these movies, but TMNT and Captain America, in my opinion, were the best. All right, I'm done.